Hi dear friends, I want to talk about blockchain technology and its relation to sustainable supply chain management. I hope this presentation would be useful for you. As you can see, we will cover these contents and I will start with traceability and transparency. When we talk about supply chain management, it is undeniable to ignore traceability and transparency. There are many factors that have made the evaluation of information and managing risks so difficult. The most important of which would be complexity, multi-echelon, geographically disjoint entities of modern supply chains, globalization, diverse regulatory policies, and varied cultural human behavior in supply chain networks. Traceability is becoming an increasingly urgent requirement and a fundamental differentiator in many supply chain industries. From the other side, the lack of transparency could lead to strategic and reputational competitive issues. We will examine how traceability and transparency have been interwoven with each other as an inseparable part of supply chain. Sustainability. Sustainability has been defined by the triple bottom line concepts that includes a balance of environmental, social, and business dimensions when managing the supply chain. An important strategic and competitive issue for sustainability in supply chains is the confirmation and verification that processes, products, and activities within the supply chain meet certain sustainability criteria and certification. The solution to these complicated problems lies in improving supply chain transparency, security, durability, and process integrity. But what is the role of blockchain here? New technological developments and applications with the concept of blockchain technology make these improvements goals more organizationally, technologically, and economically feasible. A blockchain technology as a potentially disruptive technology incorporating characteristics of a decentralized, trustless database allows for global scale transactions and process disintermediation and decentralization amongst various parties. What is the definition of blockchain? Blockchain technology is a distributed database of records or shared public or private ledgers of all digital events that have been executed and shared among blockchain participating agents. Its history can be traced to distributed ledgers technology. Blockchain technology differs from most existing information system designs by including 4 key characteristics: non-localization, decentralization, security, auditability, and smart execution. You can see in this picture the steps in blockchain information and transactions. From the left-hand side to the right, at first step in blockchain, an agent creates a new transaction to be added to the blockchain. Then this new transaction is broadcast to the network for verification and auditing. Then, once the majority of nodes in the chain approve this transaction according to pre-specified approved rules, this new transaction is added to the chain as a new block. And finally, a record of that transaction is saved in several distributed nodes for security. Meanwhile, the smart contract as a critical feature of blockchain technology allows the performance of credible transactions without the third party's involvement. Now I want to talk about decentralization. Decentralization is an important property of blockchain technology and is a check on any adulteration of information, thus increases information validity. Removing collectively maintained records which are impractical and verifying records of every single transaction are accessible to the participants through distributed public or private ledgers. Obviously, a centralized database is more susceptible to hacking, corruption, or crashing. In a blockchain-based supply chain, we will dive deeper into the value proposition of blockchain technology and its applicability to goods and manufacturing supply chain, its structure and possible new components for managing a supply chain. I think it is the point that we can see the role and effect of a blockchain on demand management. Four major entities play a role in blockchain-based supply chains, some not seen in traditional supply chains. Registrars, who provide unique identities to actors in the network. Standards organizations, we define standards schemes such as fair trade for sustainable supply chains or blockchain policies and technological requirements. Certifiers, who provide certifications to actors for supply chain network participation. And finally, actors, including manufacturers, retailers, and customers that must be certified by a registered auditor or certifier to maintain the system trust. The blockchain technology can highlight and detail at least 5 key product dimensions: the nature, what it is; the quality, how it is; the quantity, how much of it there is; the location, where it is; and the ownership, who owns it at any moment. In this way, the blockchain removes the need for a trusted central organization that operates and maintains this system and allows customers to inspect the uninterrupted chain of custody and transactions from the raw materials to the end. This information is recorded in ledgers as transactions occur on these multiple blockchain information dimensions with verifiable updates. Blockchain reliability and transparency are meant to more effectively facilitate material and information flow through the supply chain with automated governance requirements. For example, customers can track the detailed information of products, which would increase customers' trust associated with the product characteristics. In figure 2, you can see supply chain transformation, which is as a general graphic of one traditional supply chain transformation to a blockchain-based supply chain. Now I want to talk about other feature of blockchain. Blockchain technology can support data collection, storage, and management, supporting significant product and supply chain information. Openness, transparency, neutrality, reliability, and security for all supply chain agents and stakeholders can exist in this technological context. Blockchain can aid supply chains to detect unethical suppliers and counterfeit products, since all the information can only be recorded by authorized actors. This can cause serious social harm. Environmental supply chain sustainability. Actually, blockchain technology also aids in environmental supply chain sustainability. It can do so from many different applications. First, tracking substandard products accurately and identifying further transactions of the products can help reduce the rework and recall, which helps decrease resource consumption and reducing greenhouse gas emission. Second, blockchains could be used to ensure that purportedly green products are environmentally friendly, and blockchain benefits the emission trading processes by improve emission trading schemes efficacy. Now I want to talk about this article. Actually, in this article, authors focus not only on blockchain-based supply chain challenges, obstacles, and barriers, but also on the blockchain adoption benefits and applications in the sustainable supply chain. Understanding the barriers is the next slide that I want to talk about. The authors of the paper have identified various barriers hindering blockchain technology adoption in general and for sustainable supply chains in particular. Barriers are related to three major areas: supply chain information systems, sustainable supply chains, and blockchain technology. Authors summarized and grouped these barriers into four main categories of intra-organizational barriers, inter-organizational barriers, system-related, and external barriers, considering the internal and external limitation of organization in adapting new technology. Next slide shows actually the categorizing and dividing these barriers, and you can see in this picture you can see the barriers of blockchain technology adoption in sustainable supply chain, considering the internal and external limitation, as I said before. The first, I want to talk about these barriers. First one is intra-organizational barrier. There are various challenges in this set of barriers stemming from internal activities of organization. For example, lack of awareness and commitment of management in the supply chain would challenge resource allocations and financial decisions, or limited technical expertise and knowledge of using blockchain technology is the other barrier. In the category of inter-organizational barriers, mainly this category identifies and introduces supply chain partners relationship barrier, or for example, lack of collaboration and effective communication among supply chain partners with different and even contradictory operational objectives and priorities disturb sustainability and supply chain operations and implementation of blockchain to create sustainable value. Third category would be system-related barriers. This category refers to limitation in access to technology to get real-time information in a supply chain, and emphasize that having new IT tools is necessary for all members of supply chain, which seems challenging. And final category is external barriers. Governmental regulations and laws are still unclear about the usage of blockchain technology. This category introduces challenges stemming from external stakeholders, industries, institutions, and governments, those entities not directly economically benefiting from supply chain activities. At the last part of my presentation, there are research propositions. In the last part, actually, authors try to introduce some research propositions which we can see here. Actually, there are 7. Thank you for your time and consideration.